Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So there's a lot of women that I connect with on a regular basis. As a coach, as those of you that reach out to me listening to the podcast, if that's been you, thank you. I read every single email, every single message. Thank you. Always very welcome. Love hearing from you. When I was in practice as a chiropractor, it was also a theme that I noticed with a lot of women. And it's this. We're all so goddamn tired. Exhausted. Like fried. And so I was thinking about this today. I was out walking my dogs, and it literally dawned on me that what Women Wanting More is all about. The reason that this was birthed, if you will, 4 years ago, which started with this podcast, which became live events, which became group coaching and one-on-one coaching and different online programs, is that just like when I was a chiropractor, the work that I do with Women Wanting More, the reason, the purpose, what I feel that I was designed to do, comes down to one simple word. One simple word. And when you think of, perhaps, if this is you, that, oh yeah, Karen, I am tired all the time. Like, I'm just not eating well, and I gotta hit the gym more, get to yoga class, I gotta get to sleep a little bit, earlier at night. I've got little kids, like the stress of parenting. I'm juggling at work, so I'm working moms. I got the kids, I got work, I got marriage, I got, all of these things, right? Or I'm X amount of years old. Sure, all these things, right? But the biggest reason that I've found that women are tired all the time, exhausted, is again back to this one word, which is this: alignment. Alignment. Specifically being out of alignment. So what does that mean? Well, as a chiropractor, you may or may not know or understand chiropractic, but let me give you a brief little synopsis of how this works. So when we were in practice for 14 years, our practice in Alberta, Canada, that the education piece of it was as important as the care itself. So what do I mean by that? Well, they had to understand, right? So patients had to understand what this is, why they're coming, how the body works, how chiropractic works. They needed to understand some of these very key principles. And the reason why is that we found if they didn't understand, they wouldn't continue, right? They wouldn't get the results. They wouldn't get what they came for. So it was really important they understood. And so how we described chiropractic, this is how chiropractic is in a nutshell, is simply this: that when the brain is able to communicate properly with the body through the master control system in the body, which is called the nervous system, that when that channel from the brain to the body via your nervous system is functioning properly, then your body is optimal. When you have a misalignment in your spine, aka out of alignment, a vertebra, a bone in your spine that's out of place, it'll actually interfere with the transmissions that go from your brain to your body. And will mean, symptom or not, although most people at the beginning would come in for a symptom, but symptom or not, you will not function how you should. You will not function at your optimal best. And so as chiropractors, we helped with the physical alignment, which, yes, still affected other parts of life, of course, right? When you're feeling and functioning better in your life, or in your body, yeah, it's going to have a ripple effect on everything else in your life. Of course, right? Of course. However, what dawned on me this morning when I was walking my dogs, and I was like, oh, I do the same thing. It's just in a different way. You know, I've had a lot of colleagues say to me, Karen, how did you leave like chiropractic? Like, do you miss it? And, you know, of course I miss like patients. And I mean, it was like a little bit over 3 years ago now since we closed the doors of our office and kind of, you know, closed that chapter. Never thought that would be something that we would ever do. No. It was like chiropractic until my last breath. I'll be serving patients. Like, this is my life, my passion, my purpose. And I realized is that the reason why, although it was not an easy decision, and this took really like many years to kind of come to this place, the reason I was okay with it is because I realized I am simply doing the same work. It's just in a different way and impacting you in a different way. And so as where before as a chiropractor in active practice, that it would be about helping with the you know, alignment in the physical, right? Our physical alignment. What Women Wanting More is really all about is about emotional, mental, and spiritual alignment. Chiropractic, physical alignment to create the best version of you, physical version of you. And this emotional, mental, spiritual alignment, which again really is what I do with Women Wanting More. It's how I coach, it's how I serve, it's my gifts. I say that with like the utmost humility. That this is really about alignment with your heart and soul and remembering who you are. Remembering who you are. For those of you that have been following Women Wanting More, the podcast for a while, might have known that for, you know, a New York minute, I had some Women Wanting More apparel. It ended up being a heck of a lot of work and a lot of energy, and I was like, I can't continue to do this. But I did have t-shirts, and there was hoodies and mugs, and what else did I have? Beanies, tank tops. And so I think it was about 6 different messages, and I had them on all, or most of the different clothing and the mugs and stuff like that. And so the one that I had, I remember even before I created the Women Wanting More apparel, was that there was a phrase that kept coming to me, which I now know is actually in a lot of spiritual texts. I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. I was like, there was again just something to. I'm actually wearing one of the t-shirts. I still love the shirts, by the way. It was like good stuff that I had with that apparel. It's awesome. But there was this one phrase that literally was just like, it just kept coming back to me. And it's this: remember who you are. Remember who you are. You take a look at any spiritual text, we'll talk about, it's not about, you know, women and men. We'll talk about, I don't know who I am. Sure you do. You've just forgotten. So it's not about finding out who you are, discovering who you are, figuring out who you are. It's about remembering who you are. And the reason you can't remember who you are right now is because of being out of alignment with who you truly are. So the reason you can't remember, I'm going to repeat that, the reason you can't remember who you are is because you are out of alignment with who you truly are. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you may be making choices and decisions and actions in your life that are not aligned with who you are. So let me give you an example. Let's say, you know, health was a really important thing for you, like being vital, like you talk about it, right? You talk about it, you teach your kids. Let's use this as a great example. So you're either your mother or not, but let's just say that, you know, a woman who talks about, like, you know, it's really important that, you know, you guys are eating good food, talks about it with the kids, kind of, you know, has very little like junk food, and, you know, cooks at home a lot. They have organic fruits and veggies. They get a lot of grass-fed, organic meats. Like, you know, it's a big deal. The nutrition piece is important. Having family dinners matters. But yet, when nobody's seeing, when the kids are in bed at night, she's scarfing down a bag of Doritos, stress eating. So, that would be something that would be, it's like, wait a second, you're out of alignment. Now, this is about living like a perfect life. Like, what do you mean? I can't have my Doritos? Have your goddamn Doritos if you want them sometimes. Go for it, right? But let's say if those behaviors were consistently happening, right? So telling her children one thing of how to choose healthy choices, but she's getting her lunch through the drive-through windows, right? How else would being out of alignment look like? This feeling you have inside of you to do something, create something, make a move in some direction of your life, and you keep ignoring it. So I had this feeling inside me probably about 5 years or so before we closed the doors of a chiropractic office. And I started to have this feeling that maybe it was 3 to 4, 3 to 5, somewhere in that range. I started to have this feeling like there's something else I should be doing, and it wasn't chiropractic, and it was like, whoa. I don't know who is sending me this message inside of me, but you must have brought it to the wrong gal, because that is not me. I'm a chiropractor. I love chiropractic. Like, this is my life. This is our life. We're chiropractors. And so the more that I tried to ignore it, the louder that it got, until I started to really just take some steps. And the first thing was just like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to write. It was kind of the answers I was getting inside of me. I was like, I don't know, what am I writing? Like a story? Like fiction? Like, what am I writing kind of thing? So I simply started. I did a blog. I still remember sending that first blog. It was on something called like Blogspot. This was back in like 2012, maybe early 2012. And then that was terrifying. And then did that for a couple of months, and then we updated our website for a chiropractic office at the time. And so in that WordPress site, I then started a blog there, which became podcast number 1, Mom at 41, which morphed into podcast number 2, the one I'm listening to right now. And this is how this all unrolled. Alignment. And I started to feel it. I started to feel this feeling of like, I still loved practice. I still love chiropractic. I certainly loved our patients. Grateful, all of that. But something was kind of just like this isn't really quite it feeling inside of me. Even with the progression of women wanting more, it was a lot of stuff my husband had gone through Wake Up Warrior program initially, the Warrior Week. I was really inspired, and I was like, I should create this message for women, and this is just a different flavor to it. And it was a lot of, when you are first maybe learning something new, you're doing it often like that person would do, right? Until you kind of discover your own version, your own rhythm, your own stuff, right? Your own ideas, your own insights, like all of that. It's like anything. You kind of model it a little bit, and then you create something from that, right? It gives you a little foundation or structure, and that's what I did. And this has morphed into this. Like, oh my gosh, if you go back and listen to some of the original episodes, you'll be like, who was that? Was that you, Karen? I don't even know what I sound like. I don't re-listen to episodes really, but yeah, I realized that this, again, 3.5 years or so now out of practice, that, I got it. And having worked with enough women and seen enough women, and actually, by the way, too, in our practice, like probably most chiropractic practices, I'd say probably ours was about 80% women. So a lot of women we served over those years. Plus, there's the thing of I am a woman. So obviously, I understand that experience. And I've gone through all this myself too. The reason we are so tired, the reason women are so tired and exhausted and fried and like no energy. Yes, it can be those small things, but the bigger picture, out of alignment with who you truly are. So now the question comes, well, how do you do that, Karen? Good question, sister. It takes some work. It takes some commitment. It takes, for some women, this could be you. Some often, kind of like in practice as well, too. For a lot of our patients, it would take like they're just like, I can't do this anymore. They're like, I've had daily migraines for 10 years. I've taken all these drugs. I've tried all these different therapies, and like nothing works. It's like, this is my last thing I'm trying kind of thing. So for a lot of women, that can be the case too, that it's just, there has to be like, you got to hit a brick wall or hit bottom or, choose any kind of metaphor that you want. And then from then it's like, I just can't live like this anymore. It's kind of just feeling like broken wide open. It's like, okay, I'm ready now because I can't live like this anymore. It's not okay what's going on anymore. I can't continue down this point of the way I'm showing up for the roles in my life when it's not truly aligned with who I actually am. And it doesn't mean that you're like a complete 180. I think for a lot of women, they get maybe a little bit like afraid of the whole notion of this. And oh my God, what does that mean? Does it mean like relationships end? Or does it mean that like I just leave everybody, start a whole new life? And well, maybe it could be, but no, not necessarily at all. And here's the coolest part, right? Like when you're in alignment with who you truly are, not only is there energy inside of that, not only is there magnificence inside of that, not only is there light inside of that, but you get to be that for everybody else in your life. Because, as women, nurturing and caring for others is part of our feminine. It's part of who we are. We don't need to squash that. We just got to squash the whole martyrdom stuff, right? That needs to go. I'm going to put myself or put everybody else before me. No. You first. You first. You can call it selfish if you want. Whatever. It doesn't matter. You first. Because when you are showing up in alignment, when you know who you truly are, when you've remembered who you truly are, and you live that way, you are a better wife, partner, girlfriend. You are a better mother. You are better in business or as an employee. You are a better friend. You're a better sister. You're a better daughter. You're a better woman. You're a better human. So how you do this is work. And we don't have enough time in any podcast to go there, right? Every woman is different, but I'll tell you something. I do know how to get women there. I do know how to get women there. There are ways to get there. There are tools, there are systems, there are strategies that I use with my clients that really help them to awaken. Remember who they are. And be able to get the results in their life of now alignment. The results of energy, the results of feeling solid in who you are. Like, what a beautiful thing that is to go, without ego, by the way. Because, we can go and be like, well, I know who I am. No, I don't mean that. I've just been like, no, I know me. At least I know me in this present moment. I know how to care for me. I know what matters to me. I know the things I want in my life. I have the tools, I have the emotional tools to be able to navigate the waves as they come, to teach these to my children. And in knowing that when I pour into me, when I care for me, when I get these results from me, it is a domino effect on, by the way, not just everybody in your life, but everybody that you touch. This is one deep-ass episode today, Karen, hey? It is. It is. I love this. I love this. I appreciate you listening to this message. My intention with every single one is for you to feel and to know, by the way. It's you and me, sister, having this conversation. Going deep, talking about the things that matter. Even though it's me talking to you, right? We're not actually live time. I want you to know that you are seen and heard and loved. And you don't have to stay stuck. And you don't need to feel like there's nothing you can do. Or that there's no way out. You just have to kind of tolerate the life that you have right now and the way it is inside of you. Because see, all this work is actually inside, right? So I know you listen to this podcast. And I appreciate that you do. And my intention is always it's going to give you some incredible value and insight and add something to your life. But listen, we know that a podcast, a book, a seminar, a cool movie, like all these things can provide us with ideas and insights. But if we don't do something with that, right? In other words, the answers are not outside of us, they're inside. And that's when someone will be like, oof, but do we have to, where's the next book? Where's the next podcast? Where's the next, nope. Inside. What a beautiful thing, right? You don't have to, there's nothing else to get. It's all inside. We just have to help you remember and pull this stuff out so you can get back into alignment and be the mother, the wife, partner, the businesswoman, the sister, the daughter, the friend, the you that you're designed to be, which is beautiful and kind and peaceful, confident, calm. Yeah, that one. So here's your more tip for today. Oh gosh, I did this yesterday or with a previous podcast, so I'm gonna do it again. Actually, here's what I'm gonna have you do. Share up this podcast, please. Please share this podcast, sister. I think this is a really important one today. I feel it. So share this up with one woman and don't just post it up on your Facebook page, but find one woman, right? This is how we really connect better, is to say, hey, you know what? I was listening to the podcast and I just really think you'd love it. So here's the link. Go take a listen, right? Something like that. Whether you do post it up on Facebook or you send someone a text or message or email so share it up with one woman in your life that you feel really needs to hear this message today. All right? And so, if you were listening to this right now too, and you're like, okay, I want to learn these tools. I have kind of hit the bottom and I don't know what to do. And I've tried so many things. And yes, Karen, I want this alignment. I want the results that you've shared about in this episode. I want to remember who I truly am. I want to show up better in my life. I want to show up better for me. I want to not feel tired all the time and stressed out and frustrated and overwhelmed and all this stuff. How do I get there? Well, this is where we dive deep in one-on-one coaching. It's, of all the things I do with coaching, it's definitely my favorite thing to do. Even with live events that I run, it's essentially, it is, even though it's a group of women, the coaching is it's a one-on-one type of vibe to it, which is we can go deep. I've never been interested, even though I have online programs and that kind of stuff, knowing that for some of you, that's where you are, right? And that's cool, and that's totally okay. But the juice for me, my lane, if you will, is one-on-one. It really is. And so if you would like to apply for one of the one-on-one coaching spots, right now we have 2 spots that are available. Here's what you need to do. Email me, drkarenosborn@gmail.com. So drkarenosburn@gmail.com, and simply say, I would like to apply. Now, just so you know, I have a lot of women that apply. Or they apply and then go great, and then I do the first step, and then I just kind of never hear from them, right? And if that was you, by the way, no judgment. But I just say this to you because, or if that was you and you're like, oh, I gotta do that, I want to do this now, then cool, and you can apply again. But the reason that I mention that is that these spots do fill up fast. There's a lot that apply. It's not for every woman, but it might just be for you. So the first step is to apply and begin the process. And then when you email, so drkarenosborn@gmail.com, I'll let you know what the next step is from there. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more is one step away. from understanding why you're so tired and to get back into alignment every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.